The plane crash that killed a rising star in the world of music and film. Reaction today after Aaliyah and 8 others were killed when their plane
Kill her! And that's what I've been saying. They killed her! She went to a funeral.
Aaliyah was one of the greatest artists of all time, and when she died, the whole world was distraught. For years, we thought her death was because of a plane accident, but little did we know there's something more to it. Now, there's more reason to believe that her death may have been set up and was not an accident at all. Watch how shocking these revelations are as we talk about the details on her heartbreaking death. Nothing can compare to how R&B was years back, and some say that Aaliyah was one of the best artists when it comes to that genre. Her name hasn't been kept in the dark even after her death, not just because of work, but because of the mystery behind her last few days alive. It has always been thought of as an accident, but now that we know more about Aaliyah and the people around her, we may just crack the case surrounding her name. Aaliyah Dana Houghton was an American singer, actress, dancer, and model. Aaliyah was enrolled in voice lessons by her mother at an early age, and she would perform at weddings, church choir, and charity events. Her mother was a vocalist, while her uncle, Barry Hankerson, was an entertainment lawyer who had been married to Gladys Knight. As a child, Aaliyah traveled with them and worked with an agent in New York to audition for commercials and television programs, including Family Matters. She went on to appear on Star Search at the age of 10. She was connected to a lot of big names in the entertainment scene, so everyone kind of already expected that she would make it big in the scene. Then, she got signed to a record label at 12 years old. She's a triple threat, a jack of all trades. It was fair enough that so many men were out to get her attention, and we knew the ins and outs of that happening. What we didn't know is that there's a possibility that these men are the real reason why she died and not the plane incident. Her death was mourned by thousands of people. They would even compare it to Princess Diana's death with the amount of people who came to grieve for her after her so-called accident. So many artists gathered for her wake, while some were mysteriously absent, those people who were a crucial part of her. Aaliyah is known to have a notorious fear of flying on planes. She would usually sit beside her mother or any family member when she needed to fly. On the morning of August 25, 2001, her worst fears came true, and the twin-engine plane she was on, along with her crew of stylists, crashed just a few minutes after takeoff. The original story of her death goes with the usual narrative of their plane trip to the Bahamas. Aaliyah and her crew traveled to the Bahamas to film the video for Rock the Boat, and on the return flight to Opelika, Florida, in a chartered plane, she and the other passengers, including her makeup artist Christopher Maldonado and hairstylist Eric Foreman, were killed after the plane crashed at Marsh Harbor Airport moments after takeoff. She was only 22 when this happened. The initial report of the crash was believed to be because of overloading. People were blaming the pilot, and even authorities determined that the Cessna had exceeded its maximum payload limit by 700 pounds, and that the pilot had even been approved to fly it and had lied to get his pilot's license. Turns out there's more to this. Yeah, her death was ultimately ruled accidental, but we just found out now that they're just putting the blow on the pilot because everyone surrounding Aaliyah had a motive against her. She suffered a wrongful death, and only a few people are defending her. She was surrounded by a lot of creeps, and some are saying that Hype Williams might be involved in all of this. He was the director of Aaliyah's upcoming music video for Rock the Boat at that time. They had already finished shooting in Miami, but all of a sudden, he decided to change filming locations and asked Aaliyah to travel to the Bahamas. Her then-boyfriend, Damon Dash, said that it did not make sense at all, especially because Aaliyah was terrified of flying. Damon did all he could to stop her from flying since he had a bad feeling about Hype Williams, but Aaliyah was adamant to stay because it was for her job. Apparently, even Lenny Kravitz offered to give him a bigger and better plane, but Hype didn't agree to it. Aaliyah had to overcome her fear to get on a plane, but she couldn't. It was reported that she went down the plane and boarded a taxi instead, but one of her crew members gave her a sedative to make her fall asleep and just fly. A member of the taxi company she was on recently testified about this. She already had an eerie feeling about it, but so many people forced her to go on. Also, the pilot already informed the passengers that they loaded too much things and people on his plane, so they couldn't fly, but no one listened to him and insisted that they had to be there. They even created a smear campaign on the pilot to cover up that they forced him to fly. Things just don't add up, and there's probably enough reason to open Aaliyah's case again. We know it's been so long, but it's nothing current technology and new knowledge can't solve for us. 20 years after her death, more things about Aaliyah's life are being uncovered, not just the plane incident. Director Hype was not at her funeral, probably feeling all guilty. He was silent about this, but what's more shocking is that it was Aaliyah's own family who betrayed her. Her mom could be seen waving to her fans during her funeral, but in reality, she did something so unspeakable. Aaliyah had always been tied up with R. Kelly, and a lot of of people from the entertainment industry witnessed it, including her family. It's just now that he's being sued for his actions, but he's been creepy ever since he started his career. Her uncle introduced R. Kelly to her, but he claims that he knows nothing about anything inappropriate happening. Her parents did know though. Her debut, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, was produced by R. Kelly, who was briefly married to an underage Aaliyah in 1994. She was only 15 at that time of the illegal marriage, but they made a fake ID for the singer and listed her age as 18. For a very long time, that's not how the world told their story. Instead of a cruel story, the story of R. Kelly and Aaliyah was looked at as the perfect love story. Right now, Kelly is currently on trial for alleged sex crimes involving numerous women and girls, including Aaliyah. Aside from that, some rumors say that he was saying both Aaliyah and her mother at the same time. That's sickening, but the story gets worse. Her uncle, the entertainment lawyer who introduced her to R. Kelly, was able to bag a settlement of $90 million for Aaliyah's death. There are other theories stating that this was a planned death because it's a sacrifice. You know, all those things Kanye West and Jeffree Star have been talking about.
I just know that was a murder. You know what I'm saying? That was a spiritual murder, whether people know it or not. Because God don't kill people. You know what I'm saying? Whether people know it or not. And I could go deep, but a lot of people I would have to really bring proof. You know what I'm saying? For what I learned. And she just was cut down in the prime of her life.
It looks like before her death, Aaliyah kept mentioning that she really wanted to escape the pressure of success, so now this gives more reason for her fans to believe that this was a planned accident. Up until today, they've been making noise online to give justice to Aaliyah. One said, "I'll never get over her passing. I cried for days. She was my all-time favorite artist. She was definitely murdered. That crash never sat with me as just an accident due to the pilot and weight of the equipment. She was never even supposed to be on that plane that day." While another added, "Aaliyah's passing never sat well with me. How everything happened felt so shady, and the fact that many that were close to her never really spoke about her death. A lot of people remained in hiding, especially her mother, which is absolutely heartbreaking. But it seems that over the past few years, things are being brought to light. People definitely know more than what has been put out there. Aaliyah was unstoppable in the few short years before her death. That now, she is only being celebrated for her accomplishments and will forever be mourned for the future she will never experience. Remember that some of this information is all based on theories and opinions that shouldn't be considered facts. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching.